Hello guys, in this video we will learn about superposition theorem. Superposition theorem states that in a network of linear resistance containing more than one source, the current which flows at any point is the sum of all the currents which would flow at that point if each of the sources are considered separately and all other sources replaced for the time by their internal resistance. Simply, it means we have to consider only one source at a time in a circuit, okay? And all other sources will be replaced by their internal resistance. And if internal resistance is not given, then if voltage source will be converted into short circuit and current source will be converted into open circuit. Okay, so at that particular moment there will be only one source. Okay, and for this one source we will determine the responses. Okay, after determine the responses we will consider for another source. Okay, now it would be easier to understand if we take an example. Look, in this question we have to find the current I. Okay, and this is the response. We have to determine this response for each of the sources. Look, there is three sources. One is this source, one is this source, and one is this source. So we will consider all these three sources separately one by one and find separately this response, and then we will add up all these three responses. Okay, now in first case we will consider only this current source. Okay, and replace this two source. Okay, this two source will be replaced. Now look, this is the case one. In this case we have considered only this current source and remaining two source is replaced. This is a voltage source, as you can see. This is a voltage source and this is converted into short circuit. Okay, and this is a current source and this current source is converted in open circuit as there is no internal resistance. Now look, the current is flowing in downward direction. Okay, then this current in this branch, okay, the response will be on this direction. Okay, suppose we take it as I1. Okay, and suppose current in this direction is I2. Okay, now this is the current and this current is split in this point into two direction. This is I1 and I2. We have to determine this response I1. So using current divider we know that for this branch the current would be opposite resistance, that is 50, and sum of these two resistors, that is 50 plus 150 into the current source is 120 50 by 200 and 120 and by 2 equals to 30 ampere. So we have got I1 equals to 30 ampere. Direction is this. Now for case 2 we will consider only this voltage source and remaining other source, that is this current source and this current source, will be replaced. Look, this is the case 2. We have considered only this voltage source and the remaining source is converted. This is open circuit and this is also open circuit. As you can see, these are current source. Okay, now look, this is the voltage source and the direction is -2 plus, so the current would be flowing from this direction. Okay, so the response in this branch would be in this direction. Now suppose we assume that the current is I2. Okay, and we have to determine this I2, means the response. Okay, so look, this resistance 150 and 50 is in series combination. Okay, so total resistance is 50 plus 150, that is 200 ohm. Okay, now current in this branch would be, we know V equals to IR according to Ohm's law, and I equals to V by R. Here V is 10 volt and I. So now for case 2 we have determined the response, that is I2. Okay, now we will check for case 3, where there will only this current source will operate and remaining these two sources will be replaced. In this case, this 40 ampere source is operating and the voltage source become short circuit and the current source become open circuit. Okay, now look, the direction of this current source is upward. Okay, so the current would pass from this. Okay, and this point the current will be split into two current, one would be in this direction and one would be in this direction. Suppose in this direction current is I3. Okay, I3, and in this direction current is suppose I4. Okay, look, we have to measure the responses in this branch. Okay, that means I3, we have to measure I3. So again, using current divider rule, we will determine I3. Sorry, here is 50. Now we have to find the current in this branch, and the opposite resistance is 50. So 50 would be in numerator, and in denominator it would be 50 plus 150 into the current source. Current source means 40. This is our current I3. Now look, we have considered all these three cases by applying each of the source individually, and now we will add up all the three responses by their direction. Now look, in this question direction is this way, so it is better to take from this right to left as positive and left to right as negative sign. Okay, so here in this case 1 you can see the direction is left to right. Okay, so it is negative, it is a negative direction. In this I2, current is right to left, so it is positive. And in this case current is this way, right to left, it is also positive according to the question. Okay, now add up all these responses. So we know I1 is in negative direction, so I1 would be minus. I1 is in negative direction, so it would be minus 30 ampere, minus 30. Then I3 is positive direction, plus I3, and I2, it is also positive. I2 also positive. So I3 value is 10 and I2 value is 0.05, minus 19.95 ampere. Okay, and this would be, we have considered this direction. Okay, now look, we have get minus here, so the actual direction would be left to right. It would be the actual direction. Now in this question the actual direction would be this way. Okay, this is our actual direction. Now one thing that I have forget to tell you this, look, you can convert this current source also in voltage source, and then you can also find the responses. So V equals to, we know, IR, and I is 120 and R is 50. Okay, okay, so this is the source. After converting this parallel combination of current and resistance, we get this voltage and resistance is in series combination. Okay, so we have converted this current source into voltage source, and after that the circuit look like this. Now here the direction, look, the direction is downward, so after conversion the direction would be same. Okay, it will be plus and it will be minus. So now we will determine the response, that is I1. I1 is, look here, 150 resistance and 50 resistance is in series combination, so total resistance is 200 ohm and voltage is 6000 voltage. Okay, so current I1 equals to, sorry, R equals to 200 and I1 equals to V by R. V equals to 6000 and resistance is 200, that is also same, 30 ampere. So in this way, after converting the source, the calculation get much easier. Okay, so using source conversion you can also find the response. Also you can convert this voltage source and any of the resistance. Suppose voltage source and 50 is in series. Okay, now you can convert this into current source. Now after conversion the circuit look like this. In this way you can convert the source and simplify your solving approach. Okay, Hope you understand this process.